Welcome back, everybody. Right now it is 13 minutes past 11 from Washington to the Middle East to right here in North Alabama. There are a lot of things happening in the world. One of Alabama's biggest decision makers, though, U.S. Senator from Alabama, Coach Tommy Tuberville. He is joining us right now to give his perspective on some of those issues. So, first of all, thank you so much just for taking the time to stop by and talk to us. I guess my first question is, you are out and about this week in North Alabama. What's your mission?
Well, most of the week I'm in D.C., and when we have a few days off, I'm either southeast, southwest, up here in the northern part of the state. What a great place. It's always great to come here because most everything's positive. The economy's good. It's growing really too fast, to be honest with you, but that's never a bad thing. But we've got a lot of great people up here, mostly military, engineers, defense contractors. Enjoy coming here.
We got some smart folks for sure.
Yeah, we do.
I got to ask you, so Israel, Hamas, the fighting between Israel and the Palestinians, Gaza. Is Israel going too far at this point, in your opinion, because of the mounting number of casualties on the Palestinian side, especially when we're talking about a lot of children, people who have nothing to do with the purpose of the fighting?
First of all, I'm on Israel's side. They were the ones that were attacked, okay, to begin with. Now, everybody wants to jump in and say, well, there's some civilians killed. You got to remember, you go back to Iraq. There was hundreds of thousands of people killed by us in Iraq that were civilians. Nobody else complained. 9/11 happened. A lot of people, didn't survive our attacks. We need to stay out of Israel's way. We need to help them. I understand there's a lot of Palestinians there. We're helping them also. We just passed $9 billion to go into for humanitarian aid. I just hope that doesn't go into Hamas's side and enables them more than it should. But this is going to go on for a while. It's not going to ease up.
So what about all of these pro-Palestinian protests that are literally crippling some university campuses across the country right now? Where do you see the line drawn between free speech and hate speech and outright racism?
Yeah, well, we're all for free speech. That's the reason it's the number one in our Constitution. You can say what you want to say as long as you don't really get towards hate speech or. And again, you go back and look at what's happened in college campuses. I'm fine with these young people protesting in a way that's not detrimental to their education or other people's education. That's, when they get in the way of things, getting interstates, block traffic, those kind of things, enough's enough. You're here, you can protest, the Constitution says that, but you cannot do something when it affects other people's lives. And I think we're going to have to get a lot more people involved. Law enforcement, you saw in Texas, the military got involved in Austin. Again, protest, but do it peacefully and don't affect other people's lives.
Do you find it unsettling, though, to hear so many young Americans make such anti-American statements at these protests? This is the future of our country, and that is their mindset.
It's called education.
Right.
And one of the reasons I ran, because I saw the direction our education is going. But again, I can go back to my days of the Vietnam era. We had this same thing going on, fighting, protesting against the war in Vietnam, which we now know we probably shouldn't have spent even a quarter of the time that we were there. A lot of people got killed. But at the end of the day, I want young people to have the opportunity, number one, to understand they live in a free country. They can say what they want, but just don't affect other people's lives. And don't force something like an education, for instance. You got a lot of people in Columbia University now that's not going to be able to go to class. They've canceled all classes for the rest of the year. They got to do it online, and their parents are paying $70,000 to $100,000 for this education. That's wrong. When it affects that, they should not be allowed to do it.
So closer to home, the issue of bringing U.S. Space Command headquarters to Alabama. It never really felt like that issue was fully settled. Is it? And if not, what's the next step? And what role might you play in getting that mission accomplished?
No, we fight for it every day. It wasn't done the right way. Now, if I felt like that Colorado was the right place for it, or Nebraska or Texas, that'd be fine. But what happened, I first got in office, I got a call from the Secretary of Air Force. Now, that's who makes the decision, not the President, not the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of Air Force. She called me and said, Coach, we're going to put Space Command in Huntsville.
Right.
We were excited. Change in the President and administration, Biden said, let's do another evaluation. They did the evaluations. Guess who comes up first? We do, Huntsville. So it should come here. Secretary of Air Force had a meeting with the president. The president says, where do you think we ought to put it? He says, we need to leave. We need to put Space Command in Huntsville. It's the best place. He said, no, we're going to put it in Colorado. So I think the election will have a big say in where it's going to be. It's not settled. They can't spend any money towards expanding Space Command until this last review is done, which will be after the election. President Trump gets elected, there will be a lot of employees moving from Space Command to Huntsville.
So I've got to ask about TikTok. You just mentioned that aid package that just passed. So that TikTok, do you think there's a likelihood this Chinese company will sell TikTok to an American company? Or what do you say to all those folks who make their money with TikTok who are now saying that this is wrong, that this is a crush on their freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and so forth?
Yeah, and of course we got to be careful.
Right.
You know, I've talked to a lot of my senators on the floor. Rand Paul is totally against doing away with TikTok because of just what you said, free speech. Now, it's unfortunate that China owns that. China owns a lot of things in this country, not just TikTok. But this bill basically says if they'll sell it within a year, we will continue to allow TikTok here. Now, I'm not a big social media person. I know about it. I'm on it some. It's mostly about data, okay? Our data is being stolen. Folks, our data is already stolen. It comes from Facebook. It comes from Twitter. They know everything that we have already. The problem I have with any of our social media outlets is the indoctrination of our young kids. I'm talking about 15, 16, 14, 13-year-old kids that get on these social media institutions and they learn things that they should learn.
Right.
And they're pushed certain ways. We have a tremendous amount of suicides that are caused on young kids by social media. There's bullying, there's things that goes on there. I think there's a way we can do it, but it's not just TikTok. We've got to look at all of our institutions in social media and do a good evaluation, but it's new. I mean, this is brand new. We've only had the internet for 20 years.
That's true.
We've got to, but I tell you, I've been up almost 4 years, and I'm not big for the federal government really getting involved in anything. The states should be able to control what they should be able to control. We're probably going to have to do something when it comes to social media, but again, I'm all for our Constitution and the First Amendment.
And I can't thank you enough, Senator Tommy Tuberville, for stopping by and having this conversation with us today.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoy your time in North Alabama.
Thank you.
It's a
God bless.
pleasure. And we'll be right back.